Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of MMA Fighting's Divisional Rankings Show. We can talk pound for pound rankings too, but it's the ranking show, guys. This is May 2025. It's been about a month since we did our last show. It's been about 2 months since we actually did a full, proper update of the rankings. And I think it works out better this way, guys, because we got plenty of movement. We've got a new champion finally. Technically, 2 titles changed hands, though, of course, the other belt, talking about the featherweight title, is back with a former champion and was, vacated. Like, it wasn't like it changed hands. But we did see one belt properly change hands. Della Maddalena shaking things up, shaking up the welterweight rankings, shaking up the pound for pound rankings, beating Belal Muhammad in a very competitive fight, but I would say fairly free of controversy. And so we've had some movement. This is a good thing as we head into sort of the midway point of 2025. Things had been a little bit stagnant, but let's talk about all that. Let's talk about some of the new contenders we've got. Let's talk about some of the veterans that have maybe fallen out of favor, may not belong for the top 15. And to join me to talk about all the comings and goings and the hottest and the nottest of the divisions, we have my best friend, Mike Heck.
Hello, AK. How are we doing?
Hello.
Let's talk some rankings. Alexander Shabley for life.
Oh, don't. That's for the algorithm. I like that. That's for the algorithm.
Whoa.
Thanks, Mike.
Sorry.
What a pro.
Sorry, that was really loud, Bells. I got very excited.
Wow.
And on
my apologies.
RIP headphones. On the horns today, as always, is the great EK Leydon.
Oh man, I got really excited on the air horn button.
We've got a couple of topics to discuss here, but let's just do a quick sort of update on the biggest moves we had. This is since March. Since our last division update. So 2 months. So some of these fights, I know, guys, the MMA news cycle moves so quickly. We have so many events. These feel like distant memories, but let's go real quick. Light heavyweight Carlos Ulberg leaping into the top 5, beating Jan Blachowicz in a forgettable fight at UFC London, but a win is a win. Carlos Ulberg now number 4. Dominic Reyes, he's back. Guy's back in the top 10. He was already back in our rankings, but he jumps from the fringes of the top 15 all the way up to number 10 after beating Nikita Krylov. Reiner de Ritter, officially a top 10 in the MMA Fighting Global Rankings with a spectacular win over Bo Nickel. I think some may think he should be ranked even higher. Natalia Silva, essentially swapping spots with Alexa Grasso. Natalia Silva up 7 spots. I wrote this wrong in my notes. 7 spots to number 2 after beating Alexa Grasso. She is the number 1 contender. Will she get a title shot? That's another conversation. And Yasmin Yasidovich got a shout out, my fellow Canadian, up to number 11. She beats Jessica Andrade. Biana Jandarova, also number 2 in her division at strawweight. She beat Yan Xiaonan. And another great Canadian, Jillian Robertson, up 5 spots to number 9. She beat Marina Rodriguez, who then retired. We have Yuya Wakamatsu making his rankings debut. He beat Adriano Moraes. That one probably flew under the radar. They fought. They're 1-1 in their series now, but Yuya's got the most recent win. We took out Ilia Topuria and Max Holloway, guys. You will not see them in the featherweight rankings. Of course, Topuria officially headlining UFC 317 for a vacant lightweight title fight with Charles Oliveira. And Holloway was kind of on the border, but I think we're putting him at lightweight now. He has said he is not going back to featherweight. He's officially booked to fight Dustin Poirier in the main event of 318. So there we go. And happy trails to Jose Aldo, who is apparently, and we all like to believe, has retired after a tough, controversial loss to Ayman Zahabi. So there you go, guys. Those are the big moves. There's a little more. Of course, we'll talk welterweight, but that's kind of going to lead into a bigger topic right now. Mike, I just want to ask you, which of these moves and sort of which divisions are most, let's say outside of welterweight, I think we can all agree welterweight's on fuego right now. Which of these moves was most exciting to you, and which division has you kind of most intrigued heading into the next 6-7 months of the UFC?
I mean, it's weird to say. Like, I feel like lightweight's always the answer, but light heavyweight, I guess. But like, it's so bad. It's just so bad. Like, and I say this because of Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes is just is a great story. If he can get back up there, he should just fight Carlos Ulberg next. I think that's the fight to make. Winner gets a title shot. Because Carlos Ulberg certainly isn't getting a title shot after that forgettable Jan Blachowicz victory. Obviously, Reinier de Ritter is an interesting tale. If he beats Robert Whittaker, he might just, weird his way into a title shot. guess light heavyweight, but it's mostly because of Dominic Reyes and no other reason. And yeah, if we're not talking welterweight, I guess light heavyweight, but I am not happy about this answer. And I think that just kind of goes with just sort of the state of the UFC and its divisions right now. Like one division can get red hot and sort of take over the conversation. And then when that happens, the rest of them sort of just fall behind, and we hope for the Dominic Reyeses of the world to emerge in some way, shape, or form. So I guess light heavyweight, but that is defaulto if there ever was one.
See, I want to say like strawweight and women's flyweight because in my mind, I'm like, oh, we got two fresh contenders in Virna Jandiroba and Natalia Silva. But then I realize they're probably not getting their shot next if Dana White and really, let's be fair, the vast majority of fans have their way. They want to see that Val and Zhang Weili super fight, which is awesome. Like, I'm not complaining. What a great fight. I hope we get it. But it does kind of suck that, like, clearly Natalia Silva, I think Shevchenko would be a great fight. Clearly Virna Jandiroba and, some people may disagree, but I think Virna would be a really good challenge for Zhang Weili. But that's not how the UFC works these days. Becoming the clear-cut number one contender does not guarantee you jack squat. Becoming an interim champion doesn't guarantee you jack squat, apparently. So my answer, I guess, I'll say middleweight for now, Mike, because I owe you, and I want to say it was when we were doing the show like last year or whenever Shaheen was still around. You guys were touting, middleweight. I didn't believe it. You guys were saying it was a top 3 division. I was like, I didn't see it. I don't know. I didn't see it. I think historically, I'd always looked at it as kind of a muddy division. But you guys are saying, look, this guy's coming up. This guy's coming up. I think this was before RDR even signed with the UFC. So we didn't even know that gem was coming along. And this division looks pretty sweet. Like that Dricus Khamzat fight is awesome. Nasser Dean's going to event, and Caio and Anthony Hernandez. Oh, Anthony Hernandez is booked. Anthony Hernandez is fighting. Who's Anthony Hernandez fighting?
Is he booked?
Is he not booked? We've got some movement because I remember. So by the time this podcast comes out, I think we'll have the division post up. And when I was writing out all the upcoming fights, maybe no Anthony Hernandez. Oh no, I see.
Nothing.
Maybe we didn't confirm it. Roman, yeah, we I don't remember if we confirmed this yet, but supposedly fighting Roman Dolidze. I think almost everyone in the top 15 is booked for a fight. Even Paulo Costa has a fight. He's fighting in 317, and he never fights. So Johnny Eblen, no one in PFL ever fights, and he has a fight. So I think, I don't know if it's everyone, except everyone outside of like Caio and Nasruddin and maybe Sean Strickland and Izzy. But that's great. That is what you love to see. You love over the next 3 months, we'll see even more movement at middleweight. It has been moving a lot in the past year. Somehow, you guys nailed it. This division rules, and if RDR gets a title shot, holy crap, what a fun. I don't care who it's against, Khamzat or Dricus or someone else. Man, that's a hell of a lot of fun. Casey, what about you?
I was going to say, welcome back to the rankings, Fabian Edwards. He's back, baby. He's back in there.
We should, with respect to Fabian, we should say Derek Brunson did drop out due to inactivity. He has not fought in 18 months. So someone had to take that spot. And who better than a man who appeared, I think, on 3 ballots, you, Guy, and I, Casey, and then Mr. Fabian Edwards. Doing great in PFL. Doing great. Casey, which division, which move intrigued you and which division is like kind of
I'm actually as far as the most intriguing, I'm actually going to go to the middleweight rankings also. Yeah. Mostly because of RDR, because I'm pretty sure that's where I had him ranked too, but it's the weirdest ranking because he is a top 10 fighter and yet he hasn't beaten anyone even in the top 15, right?
Nope. This is true.
That's what I mean. It's a very unique spot because most people are like, you got to beat someone to get there, and we're just putting a lot of potential on him, I guess. And I'm on board too. I don't know if Jed has made us just fall in love with him too, like in the same way. But I find his ranking very, very interesting. What do you got? I don't recall.
Former one champion on multiple divisions. He's got 3 top 30 wins in the UFC and has finished all 3 of them. So I get it. It's just like, these aren't really competitive fights. Like he's the Mearshart one. How good is Gerald Mearshart is probably the question we should truly be asking. Because Gerald was the most competitive with RDR by a mile. Maybe Gerald Meerschaert should be ranked number 15 over Fabian Edwards.
Don't go crazy. Slow it down, but I see what you're saying.
It's a weird one. One.
Yeah, and I will say we're pretty conservative with our DeRitter takes. What I want to say, I think when he was a 2-division champion and 1, he had snuck into the top 10 already. I could be wrong. He might have never quite cracked the top 10. I know Jed was very high on him. So based on Jed's ballot, of course, guys, we use like a weighted system for anyone who doesn't know. Like, a number one vote is worth 15 points, and then you kind of go down from there, 14 points, 13 points. So one ballot can swing things like a lot. I think Jed had him high, but I don't know high enough to push him to the top 10 because he wasn't on like everyone's ballots. But now we're pretty much in agreement. Jed has him 9. That's the highest. A couple of people have him 11, but he's anywhere 9 to 11, and that's it. I think we're right. I think we have him in the right spot.
My guess is not too different from Johnny Eblen. We have him as a top 10 fighter yet because of being in the PFL now. Has I guess outside of Fabian Edwards, has he beaten anyone in the top 15? Am I forgetting someone?
I'm trying to think of someone used to be in the top 15.
Like it's on his rise. Yeah, I don't think so. So I think like Eblen or DeRitter were kind of still going just on because they're champs in other organizations or still are, and just some potential, I guess.
Without looking, who is Johnny Eblen fighting at the next
Costello Bonstine?
I knew you would know. Mike.
I made the graphic. I have to know.
You did. That's in your brain. But yeah, and unfortunately, I hate to say it, a win without losses. So, people can see the graphic ahead of him. There's Anthony Hernandez, Whitaker, Bajo. Like, without one of them losing, like a win for Eblen over Costello, even if it's like a first round, just runs through him. Man, I just don't know if he's going to be able to move. It's tough. It's honestly, even if Anthony Hernandez, Whitaker, and Bajo lose, they still might not drop below Eblen. Like, it's just really tough with the PFL right now. Finding reasonable opponents. Because on that same card, the co-main is Dakota Jivcheva fighting a fighter I think people like, but people who know about her like her. She's fairly unrecognizable, Sumiko Inaba. So,
just maul her. That fight is going to be tough scenes.
Oh, who's she fighting?
She's going to absolutely destroy
Sumiko Inaba.
She's going to.
Oh, the Hawaiian Bellator fighter.
Yeah, she's.
Oh my goodness, that's
I saw people
jump up in competition for Sumika. Wow, I didn't know that. I
saw people rolling their eyes in the matchup, and I will say, at least Bellator has like kind of like they've kept Sumiko busy for the last few years. Like, she is she's not someone that Bellator's bringing in. Like, she is a known Bellator fighter, but obviously not a household name, not a popular fighter, and she'll be a plus 2,800 underdog if those odds aren't out already.
That would be incredibly. If that fight's even competitive, Dakota's going to move back in the rankings.
Oh, getting the drop ready. He's getting the red arrow ready. He's getting the red arrow ready.
I don't like saying that because I want like Smika. She's a good fighter, but like I enjoy watching her fight, but I didn't see her as like a top 10 flyweight, and I have Dakota ranked very high. So I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Casey, I don't get to ask you this stuff a lot. Will you be disappointed if we never see Silva versus Shevchenko, or we never see Jandiroba versus Zhang? But that means we get, like, if you had to choose, if there's a world where we get either Zhang versus Shevchenko or we get those two title fights and you can only pick one, which again, I hope that's not the case. I'd love to see all those fights. But if you could only pick one, which scenario you're picking? The one super fight or the two number one contender fights?
Oh, if Weili is leaving the division permanently, then the super fight. If it's just to get the 2 belt thing and go back to strawweight, don't want to see it. If she's leaving division permanently, then that's the fight. Otherwise, I've been a big Jandiroba fan for a long time, and now Weili is the best, and I think she will lose to Weili, but she has earned that ass kicking. So that's why I really want to see Jandiroba get that title fight, because she deserves it, Yeah. So, but if Weili's just going for the 2 belt thing, then go back to strawweight, nah, screw that.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. I always hate the argument that like, oh, we know this person's going to win. Why book it? I'm like,
that's why they're the champ. That's why they're the champ.
Yeah. And there's a lot of title fights you shouldn't book. Then that's where you're in the situation where guys fight once a year because there's like, oh, there's no worthy contenders. I'm not gonna fight this guy. I'm just fight once a year. And I'm like, oh, that's great. That's great for the fans. Like, Mike, I know you're all in. I think you're all in on Zhang Shevchenko, right? You feel like that has to be done.
You have to do it now. You have to do it now because let me just tell you, folks in listening land, something. If Valentina Shevchenko fights Natty Ice next, she's losing the belt. Plain and simple. She is losing to Natalia Silva. She's not going to win that fight. So if you're going to do the super fight, if we're going to do champ versus champ, if we're going to do Shevchenko versus Zhang, you have to do it now. Because if you get too greedy with this, Natty Ice is going to go ahead and take that belt away from her. So do it now. I need to see it before both fighters move on to other things. I don't think Shevchenko and Zhang are going to be each fighting 5 more times apiece. So I think we're less than a handful of fights for both gals. Let's just do it now. Like, what are we waiting for? Zhang told me when I last spoke with her, she is done at 115. She does not want to fight at strawweight anymore. She wants to go up to 125. And it's sure she'd love to fight for the belt. She just doesn't want to fight at strawweight anymore. So I don't know what we're doing here. We could still have multiple title fights out of this. We can get a new strawweight champion crowned. It's fine. It's fine. Janjarova could get her day in court and fight for a belt. Just isn't going to be against Zhang, and that's okay. That is okay. She can fight Mackenzie Dern in a rematch for the vacant title. It's all good.
Oh, man, the UFC would love that. Finally get that Mackenzie Dern title fight. Finally get that Mackenzie.
I love that fight. I love Dern Janjarova is an awesome rematch, and both of them, I've rightfully earned it. Get Tatiana Suarez a fight. Get her back into contention, and strawweight's back. They just need to move on from Weili, and like Mike said, book that freaking fight.
Give Tatiana Jillian Robertson.
Yeah, exactly.
Give Jillian Robertson that fight.
Perfect.
You've done it again, Mike. This is not no. Settle down. This is not. You don't have to show off. I'm sorry. You don't have to show off. We all know you're an amazing matchmaker. Like, you don't have to flex it in front of everyone. And you said Zhang wants to move up anyway. So you have the same caveat, Mike. You're assuming like this is the fight to make because Zhang is just going to vacate the belt, and like it's a clean move on. Yeah.
I don't know what else she needs to say. She's like, I want to go to flyweight. Please, UFC, let me go to flyweight. I don't understand why we're waiting.
Listen, we got 6 months to go. We got how many pay-per-views that still need title fights? Like at least 3, because we're only booked up to 319. They might add something 319, and then 319 is they're already talking about August. The 320, right? And we know it's 320 in September, which we hope will be in Guadalajara, but we're hearing some rumblings that some issues with the venue. The venue is a little bit behind schedule, but either way, I think. I'm trying to think. So by the end, what will the December, that'll be 324, probably 323, 24, something like that. So yeah, a lot of cards left to go. You could very well see that Shevchenko Zhang fight booked by the end of the year. If it isn't, man, I'm going to be deeply annoyed considering some of the other fights we've been
Weili only fighting once a year.
What a shame.
Just sucks.
She's so good. She's so good. What a shame.
And you trust her in a throwaway card in Perth. Like, what are we doing
here? So yes, guys, we had a ton of movement. We had some fond farewells to some great fighters. I didn't mention welterweight before, guys, of course. Jack Della Maddalena, your new number 1. All of us voted him number 1. There's been some moments in the past where that's not the case. I think I don't remember when it was who won. When Leon won, maybe even Belal won. I think Jed was like, nope, Shavkat. I'm putting Shavkat.
Still my one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, maybe it was you, Mike. Maybe it was you. But yeah, the welterweight title picture has not been like incredibly clear. Even after Leon like wrested the title away from Usman. I think at some point he was like consensus number 1, but then like Shavkat fought and he had a good performance. So there's some nice movement there. But for now, there's peace in the land of 170. Jack Della Maddalena, number 1. Brady and Machado Garry, both into the top 5. I want to say, fresh contenders. I was going to say fresh contenders. Like we saw Brady fight Belal, but not fight for a title again. So before I get into the big topic, I just want to ask, when we were originally we're updating the rankings, it was after 315, but then it kind of got pushed back to after Vegas 106, which was headlined by another pretty notable title welterweight fight, Michael Morales versus Gilbert Burns. Michael Morales just runs through the older fighter. Let's see where we are now. We have Morales going from unranked to number 8. I would say jumped like technically if you extended it past 20, I would say he jumped like 10 spots or something. He's about like 18, 17. Gilbert Burns plummeting outside of the top 10, I think for the first time since we did start doing these rankings a few years ago. Number 6 all the way to number 13. Sorry, dropping 6 spots to number 13. So I just want to ask quickly, Mike, Michael Morales, too high, not high enough. Gilbert Burns, dropped too far, didn't drop enough. Try to see your rankings. Let's see Mike's rankings.
I think Morales is fine. I'm trying to remember exactly where I had him.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have him Morales. One spot behind Praches.
Maybe you have one spot ahead. You have Morales 8, and you have Praches 9, and you have Burns. Okay, you drop Burns to 14. So you're about in line.
Yeah, I would say 8, 9, or 10 is a fine place for Michael Morales, and yeah, I'd say Burns and I mean this with all due respect to one Gilbert Burns, anywhere from 13 to unranked, I think is more than fair. This was not a competitive fight against Michael Morales. This was not at all competitive, and I understand the strength of schedule in those losses are pretty tough. He lost to Belal. The fight was not close. He lost to JDM. He was winning, got stopped. It is what it is. These are the types of things that happen in this sport. And the Sean Brady fight was fun, a little more competitive than most give it credit for, but it was a Brady win. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This was the one where it's just like, okay, we're way on the back nine now. We are 6 Long Island iced teas deep on the 19th green, if you will, with Gilbert Burns, and that's fine. Like, he's had a great career, and there's still fights for him if he wants to keep doing this. I mentioned like Austin Vanderford. There's, Michael Chiesa's about to fight. I forget who he's fighting. Court McGee. You could throw him in there with a guy like that, but the days of Gilbert Burns being like a top 10 welterweight are just over. And that's fine with everything that this man has accomplished. But yeah, if you wanted to take Burns completely out of the rankings, it would not bother me at all at this point, because I think pretty much you can make a case for every single fighter probably in the top 20 to beat Gilbert Burns right now. And I would listen to all of those arguments, and Father Time catches up with all of us. It's undefeated, no matter how great a shape you get into or how skilled you've been in your career. And unfortunately for Gilbert Burns, this is just where he's at right now. And him being at 13 right now, you should be pretty happy about that if we're being fair and true to ourselves.
Yeah, people just looking at our list, I think there's a lot of people who would rank Praches above him. I think there's a lot of people who would rank Amasov above him. So, man, that's crazy. He does turn, I think, 39 either in June or July. This is the nature of the game, man. This is the nature of the game. Casey, I'll go to you. I know, so I wanted to just let people know in the inside baseball here. You had Burns 7 2 months ago. This is our last update. You had Burns 7, Morales unranked. A lot of people had Morales unranked. Now you have Morales at 11, and you just Gilbert's out of there. So is that Casey?
I think I'm the only one on the staff that I took Gilbert completely out of the rankings. I hate saying it, but it's one. When we have kind of these big fights, we kind of always go, is this a good victory or just a bad performance by the loser? We kind of like that. And unfortunately, I'm have to lean toward Gilbert looked really bad over Morales looking really good. I mean, Morales obviously looked great. He did exactly what he was supposed to do, but Gilbert is just, you can't have off nights like that in a main event at this level in your career. It was just, he's like a top 20. I'm being very positive, maybe top 20 guy right now. He's a guy the UFC should definitely use now to push up their prospects like Morales. So yeah, that's why I couldn't, so I moved Gilbert back the farthest, and I didn't, and Morales, I have him ranked the lowest too amongst everyone at number 11. But yeah. So obviously Morales is, could potentially fight for a title, win the title eventually. But right now, it's just more about Gilbert Burns just not being, a top elite fighter anymore, unfortunately for him.
Yeah. I should correct myself. Jed also dropped Burns out. So that's 2. Again, he went from being, in the top 10 perpetually since we've ever started doing the rankings. And now just not even on 2 people's ballots, but losing streak, some really tough losses in this streak. It's hard to keep him in there. But again, for the fans, I hate to say it, so much respect for Gilbert. For the fans, this is actually really good for the division. Because Casey, you just said Michael Morales, maybe a future champion. Yeah. And I've certainly felt that way for some time. So I don't want to ask, like we kind of did a question. We do this a few times, like, oh, who's the most likely in this division, blah, blah, to win a title? I think we did it with the middleweights not too long ago. So I want to go beyond that. Let's extend further. Go ahead, Casey. Before we move on, please.
Praches. Did he moved up, right? On a loss. Was he ranked last month?
He was, no, but I think someone fell out. I want to say someone fell out. I can't remember why. Steven Wonderboy actually fell out. Wonderboy was in our, I think in our 15, and I don't know.
So basically, we moved up Process because of the competitive nature of his fight. Even though, okay, that's all. That's almost just checking. No. And I totally agree with that. By the way, I just it's interesting. Sometimes they're like, well, he lost the fight, so why am I going to move him up? It's like, no, it matters. It's not about wins and losses. It's how you win, how you lose. And yeah, Process was a very competitive loss, so we still rewarded him in the rankings. I just think that should be noted.
All right, guys, let's move into the meat of this episode. Why do I put it that way? I want to talk about welterweights more than we just did, because I don't want to just talk about who's likely to win the title. How long is JDM going to be on top? I want to project like 5 years ahead here, guys. Who do you think? I provided you kind of a preliminary list, but obviously you're free to mention whoever you want. Who do you think is going to go down as the best welterweight of this generation? Now, evaluating generations can be a little tricky, but I think people can kind of agree. There was obviously the pre GSP era when like welterweights were called like lightweights. There was like the Pat Miletich era. That's a whole other thing. And then you had the very clear sort of Matt Hughes, GSP, and all their contemporaries there. That was like a pretty solid era. I want to say I think Kamaru had his own era. I do think Kamaru's reign counts like its own. Yeah. Kamaru, Colby Covington, and then sort of
Willie had his era. Willie was an era.
I think he's part of the I think it's part of the Usman era. I think like if you compare them, you would say who was the best welterweight of that era. I think you would put Usman. Like I think you can compare them directly enough. People could argue that Usman maybe when he beat Woodley, it was like Woodley was already starting to age out. I wouldn't agree. I think he beat a pretty good version of Woodley. But I understand. You're right, Casey. Some people might make that distinction. I think that's part of the same generation. Again, Gilbert in his prime is part of that generation. Jorge Masvidal, a Wonder Boy. So I think that's all one generation. And then I think now we're moving into this new generation, sort of bridged by Leon and Belal, who, again, are still relevant contenders. I think Belal counting Leon out, I understand, but yeah.
Not to be picky, is Belal, what generation is Belal part of? Because Belal is
I kind of was part of this one. So,
37 years old.
Yeah, I know, yeah. And Leon's also a bit up there in age. But I count them because if Belal were to come back and like win back the title, he would absolutely be considered like the best welterweight. I don't know. We'll see what happens to the other guys, but could be back into consideration for best welterweight of this generation. I think, unfortunately, not being able to, getting injured and missing the Shavkat fight, losing in his first title defense to JDM, I don't think you'll hear a lot of people make that argument. But we don't know. Maybe JDM loses for a title defense. Maybe no one defends the title successfully for the next 3 years. We don't know. So we're just projecting here. Could be guys who aren't even in the UFC yet. But let's say over the next 5 to 7 years, we want to call that this generation of welterweights, just based on how old these guys kind of are in the top 15 we're looking at and some of the guys on the edge of it. Who do you think? We could do a ranking if you want. You could do a top 3. You could just give me your number 1. You could give your top 2. I'll leave it open how many names you want to throw in there. Mike, who is or who will be the best welterweights of this generation when we look back on it? Will there be a clear GSP where we got to say this guy was the number 1?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna have like a clear GSP. I don't know if I don't even know if you can get it anymore. Just like the Woodley thing, Woodley had 4 title defenses. So I kind of like put him on his own tier, and then Usman had a bunch himself. So like especially when you look at it from today's perspective, if you have 3 title defenses, I feel like you earn your own sort of wing in that division. And who knows, maybe it's Islam Makhachev. Like maybe Islam Makhachev is the best welterweight. The problem is I don't think he's going to fight enough in order for him to get there. Yeah. So just looking at this list, age, skill, higher ceiling, who can improve the most, I'm going to go with Ian Machado Garry. I'm going with Garry on this one because I feel like he's really good now. And I look at his skill set and things he needs to improve upon and think to myself, he's like 55% of the fighter he's going to be. He's only going to get better. He's not going to get worse for like a decade. So I'll go with him. He's got the gift of gab. He's going to get more opportunities than a lot of these guys. Belal, if Belal wins the belt again, he changes things because Bilal's going to have to win like 5 fights. He's going to have to win like 5 more fights before he gets a title shot. And he's going to have to basically clean out the division a second time. So if he does that and then regains the belt, obviously this changes the discussion. but I will go with Garry just because he's got a decade to go, and I think he's only going to get better.
I like it. I think the UFC would love that. The guy, I don't think anyone in the UFC these days we would put on that, McGregor, Rousey, Brock Lesnar tier as far as potential to get into the mainstream. But for sure, I think Machado Garry could reach, and I'm talking about not talking about accomplishments. I'm talking about like the name value. I think he could reach like that John Jones. Who else do you put in that range? Like just that B plus, high, B plus tier. Trying to think. It's a bunch of names clustered together, but that's what I think of. Like, I think he could be as famous as John Jones. I can't imagine him ever becoming as famous as McGregor, Rousey, Lesnar, blah, blah, blah. Even GSP I consider like that sort of AAA tier. I love it. I do think, IMG for sure has everything they want in a champion, has shown he can fight some of the best of the best. I mean, went to this very competitive decision with Shavkat. The age fits perfectly. I just look at some of the matchups in the top 15. There's a lot where I'm like, he's probably either favored or pick him against a lot of these guys. So it's solid. Casey, I'll throw it to you. Are you going outside the box here? Do you think Ramazan Kurmagomedov maybe jumps over to the UFC at some point and just runs shop? Are you going recent? We just saw Michael Morales stay undefeated, run through Gilbert. What's tickling your fancy? Do you have more than one name? Do you have more than one name that you think could be the best?
I slightly disagree. I think Belal is not 5 fights away. I think he's only 2 fights away. I think he fought, to me, that was one of the best title fights I've seen in a long while. Now the UFC has a story to sell for Belal, to me. That's like this kind of comeback redemption story. Because remember, that fight was up for grabs until the 5th round. It was, if Belal wouldn't have won that 5th round, he's the champ. I mean, so that was an incredibly competitive fight. I think UFC can sell that, but regardless, I think Belal's age is going to prevent him from making a true comeback at the highest levels.
If one of the wins is Kamaru, that would actually help a lot. If he ends up fighting Kamaru, win or lose, whatever happens with Kamaru and Buckley, you might be able to build from there.
Yeah, but I'm actually going to go as far as the next GSP, the champ, JDM.
Okay,
Della. He is getting better. He weighs 28, 29. He's about to hit his athletic prime. He's got an incredible coaching staff around him, and he's a guy that I think will fight a lot. He's not gonna like I agree with Mike said. As much as I believe Islam is the best welterweight because of just the politics of the sport, the business of it. We're only going to see him once a year. We might see him more at welterweight because I'm assuming the weight cut won't be as big, so he won't need as long as a training camp for it. But I think JDM is an incredible fighter, and I was just kind of blown away because I thought Belal was going to win that fight, and I was blown away by how good JDM is and how much he's improving in all aspects of the game. So I'm gonna go JDM. Now he won't get GSP levels in terms of popularity, prize fighting wise, but in terms of just straight up statistics, numbers, rubies in your belt, I'll go JDM right now.
His takedown defense and takedown and grappling defense in that Belal fight was insane. Relative to what we had seen before. Because the whole thing was like, okay, well, he can't stop takedowns from Gilbert, which is fine, but he couldn't stop takedowns from Basel Hafez either. We were just like, it's a clear weakness. And Belal, he'd never gone past 5 rounds, JDM. He'd never gone past 5 rounds for it. It just was tailor-made fight for Belal to win. People can criticize Belal's game plan. Obviously, he put some emphasis on the striking, but there was wrestling in there, there was grappling in there, and JDM was very prepared for it. And maybe Belal knew that, maybe because wrestling's tiring for Belal too. Maybe Belal saw something early. He's like, okay, it's going to be hard to take this guy down. I don't know. We can nitpick that a lot. We've done it on other shows. I won't go back into it, but there's no questioning JDM's takedown defense was night and day for some of his other fights. And you're right. That is kind of scary. That does kind of tell you that this is a guy who could, because we mentioned GSP. He was the same way. GSP, when he entered the UFC, was not the GSP that, was not fully formed. A lot of striking. Yeah, he could grapple a bit, but he just leveled up all his skills so much that by the time he was in his prime, it was almost unrecognizable from the GSP that debuted in the UFC. So maybe we see that for JDM. 18 straight wins. This guy has not lost his first 2 pro bouts. Has not looked back. Has not lost since. Crazy. The Tapology page on JDM is just, to me, is incredible. Like,
I was actually talking about this at the gym the other day of some fighters, and I was like, dude, can you imagine us going to like just a regional card and seeing some guy get slaughtered, get finished in the first round, and we're like, dude, that guy's 0-2, and then you're gonna tell me in like 7 years later he will be the best in the world at his division? That is just unreal to me, and he did it. And I can't imagine anyone after watching the Kevin Holland split decision. I don't even know what was the guy he fought before?
Hafez.
Yeah.
Hafez. Yeah.
The split decision. Like, how do you watch that and go like, you know what, that guy, give him 2 years, he's gonna be the best in the freaking world. And now I'm saying he might be the next GSP. That's just stupid. But here we are, and I believe it. It's just this sport has amazing stories sometimes, and JDM's one of them right now. In terms of just how we got there. It's just wild.
Wasn't even supposed to get the shot. He was supposed to fight Leon.
You're right. Yeah.
He was supposed to fight Leon in London. But Shavkat.
This was a stay busy fight in a sense for Muhammad. Yeah.
Crazy.
And to clarify the Belal thing, obviously it's not going to take 5 fights. He is going to need 3 straight wins. And the biggest reason why is that the second another welterweight fight happens, Belal is going to be completely forgotten. He's going to be completely forgotten. And that is what's happened to Kamaru Usman. He is so far out of this title picture right now. It's not even funny. Like, he thinks he's a win away. He's insane for thinking that. And Belal got beat the F up in this fight by Della Maddalena. Like, he got badly beaten up. His face mangled, broken orbital, broken nose, hole in his lip. He's going to be out for a while. And the amount of things that are going to happen in this division before Belal fights again, he is going to be like 10th on the list by the time that happens. That's just the depth that welterweight has gotten right now, where every single fight that happens inside this top 10 right now has significance and meaning. And the more Belal has to sit on the sidelines and watch these fights happen, the more it hurts him. And it's not his fault. It's just the position of where he's at right now, and the position of where this division is at right now. And plus Islam jumping in, that automatically knocks you back 1 fight. Just Islam being present in this division. So yeah, it's going to be a long road. Maybe not 5 fights, but at least 3.
Yeah, and his age, obviously, that's going to be a big factor too.
Yeah, Makhachev is such a weird wrench in this, because if JDM beats him,
could change everything. If
JDM beats him, we're all good. You know, the JDM train rolls on, as Casey suggested. Maybe this guy, suddenly we've got to start talking about him as the guy who could lead this generation of very, very competitive welterweight contenders into like into 2030. Right? That's the hope. That's what we hope when you get a talent like this,
dude.
But
if Ilia Topuria wins the lightweight title and Islam beats JDM.
God. Oh God!
Don't oh God me! This is a real thing. This is a very real thing that could happen. Is Ilia Topuria jumps up and fights Islam for a third belt?
Weird.
It is very weird, and then that screws up everything. Then it's like more chaos than you could possibly dream of. So. Again, these are the reasons why Belal gets hurt in these situations, because all this silliness and all of this chaos. It's ridiculous.
I want to it'd be like in some ways it would be cool if it happened. In other ways, man, I just want divisions to be settled down. Like, I want people to fight in their divisions. I want to have more conversations like this. Like, oh, who's going to be the best, middleweight of this generation? Who's going to be the best? Who's going to be the less light heavyweight? I don't know. Like, I would love to have more of these conversations, but you're right. They're almost moot because guys jump between divisions so quickly, guys and gals now, that it's kind of hard to pin down. I want to touch upon one forgotten man. We kind of said his name a few times, but we also mentioned, Mike, he was once your number 1 welterweight, despite not actually holding a UFC title. Shavkat, no injury updates. We don't know. Will he be out for the rest of the year? Will he be booked within the next 4 months? We have literally no clue. But this guy was supposed to fight for the title in December. He was obviously in talks to fight for the title in Montreal at UFC 215, but couldn't make it. Mike, would he be your second choice? Do you still feel strongly about him being the guy who could bring undefeated fight finisher? Whatever, didn't finish Ian Machado Garry, it's fine. Is he still your guy? Is he still, like, if he comes back and fights 2 or 3 times in the next 12-month period from here, May 2026? You like him? You like him to maybe be the guy in this generation?
Maybe. the inactivity is hurting him. He's just not fighting enough. And the fact that we know nothing about these injuries scares the hell out of me. If you're somebody that's backing Shavkat in this conversation. Now, if he gets back in there and JDM fights Islam and Islam wins the belt and he's like, hey, I want to fight at Madison Square Garden or something. I want to turn right back around. Shavkat's ready to go and Shavkat wins the belt. Sure. He's right back in there as long as he's active. But there's so many unknowns right now. He's fighting once a year if he's lucky. And I know he has said in the past, well, that's not my fault. I am being offered fights and I say yes to all of these fights, but then the opponents aren't saying yes. Well, there's truth to that to some degree, but if you're fighting once a year, like how confident can we be in you being that guy? Like GSP, sure, there were times of inactivity, but he also like ripped his knees to shreds. He tore ACLs. Like he had bad injuries, but then he would come back and be a little bit more active and fight 2 or 3 times a year. So I will leave this as an incomplete right now if I'm giving this a grade to how confident I am, because if Shavkat doesn't fight at all in 2025, then that's scary. This division will pass him by, even though he could be the best welterweight in the world right now.
People out there in podcast land and MMA land, let us know. I had sort of a raw list here. You can see our rankings. You can see our rankings when I think, but again, by the time the show comes out, you'll see our list. I'm sure you guys have your own list. I do it's like, will it be one of the blue chippers? You know, Shavkat, Ian Machado Garry, Michael Morales, one of these guys? Will Sean Brady grind his way? Can Belal or Leydon come back? Will it just be JDM? Will it be the obvious answer? The guy who's the champion right now? I threw out some random names. Will it be one of these PFL guys? Would anything be funnier than Jason Jackson coming over and just going on a run and just like, I don't know. Carlos Prates, I think, is still, I don't think we rule him out. Like it's this competitive fight with Garry. I wrote down like Fakhreddinov, Gabriel Bonfim. I don't know. Oban Elliott. You guys like Oban Elliott? Mike Malott, Canada's own. So if you guys are out there, hit us up on Twitter. Hit me up. Hit Mike. Casey barely uses it. But you know what? Hit him up too. Give him your welterweight hot takes. I would love to see him join the discourse again.
Look at how the UFC views Oban Elliott right now. Look at how the UFC views Oban Elliott right now.
What's he doing again? What's his
I like him. I like him. They're burying him on the prelims of an Apex card. Oof. Like that's how they're viewing him right now.
That shouldn't.
It's tough scenes. It's tough scenes because I like Oban. I thought his last performance was great. The fact that he's fighting at like 6:45 p.m. Eastern time on a rando Saturday in front of 11 people just goes to show you, man. Like, and he's had opportunities to fight in front of crowds, but people are excited to see him back after that last performance. And like, you know what? Boy, do we have a place for you to fight, Oban. We're going to let you enjoy the entire Saturday night in Las Vegas because we're going to have you fight so early on this card. You'll be able to enjoy all the sights and sounds. You'll be able to check out the M&M store, everything that you want to see in Las Vegas on the Strip. We got you covered, my man.
You will make your dinner reservations.
I will. Yeah, we will book you dinner reservation.
You will get there on time.
Early bird special. You'll be there right in time. You'll get 10% discount. We'll make it happen.
What a deal.
Guys, let's close out with some more looking ahead, but a little more recent, not looking 5 years into the future. We've got a pretty full slate of summer's finally established. You know, UFC 317, huge fight news dump. You know, once 315 was finally behind us, we have 316. That is the next pay-per-view coming up, and then we've got a crap load of shows coming up in the future. Again, so we're booked. UFC has fights booked up to like August, end of August, something like that. What is tickling your fancy, guys? You could say a specific fight if you want, or one or two specific fights, or is there an event? Is there a particular event that you're really jazzed up for this summer and beyond? Mike, what's jumping out at you? I think I know my answer, at least as far as fight goes, but there's a lot of good options.
I mean, I think DDP Hamzat is like the best fight on the books.
So good. That's it. That's the one. Again, shut it down. That's the answer.
Yeah, but I'm. When you're dealing with Hamzat Chimaev, you just can't be confident.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean?
Why do you?
You know exactly what I mean.
I know exactly
what I mean. The whole world knows exactly what I mean. Because you know how many times he's been booked in fights that he somehow, some way, did not end up fighting at, or he missed weight and fought a different person the day before. Like, I hope it happens. I'm putting out positive vibes. And it's just so far away. we're 3 months away from that, and a lot can happen in 3 months. So I will say, just because I think we need some clarification, we need the best division in all of MMA, the best division in all of sports to have a direction and move forward. I will go with 317. And I know the excitement levels aren't exactly where International Fight Week typically is. I know people are like, oh, great, sure. But let me tell you something. By the time we get to that event, when we get to that fight week and Ilia Topuria is talking a bunch of crap and Charles Oliveira is being cheered like he's the biggest hero in the UFC, we're going to get excited for that fight. We are all going to get very, very pumped for that fight. And I think the UFC will try. They will absolutely try that week to make this fight card as big as it possibly can be to try to put one of these guys over. And I'm honestly just super fascinated by the fight. I'm super fascinated to see how Ilia looks against a lightweight like Charles Oliveira, who's a pretty big dude. Is he outsized? Is he outmatched? Is he telling the truth? Is he a lightweight the entire time that just kept cutting too much to featherweight? Is he the most powerful lightweight we've ever seen? We're going to find out answers to these questions, because I'm here to tell you, Ilia Topuria goes out there and obliterates Charles Oliveira and wins the lightweight belt. It's just going to be insane. It is going to be insane, the types of fights we can get. And then Patrick Pimblett is going to fight for a UFC title before 2025 is over. So, holy shit, AK.
Unranked. My unranked Patty.
How are you going to feel when Alexander Shabley has to watch Patrick Pimblett fight for a championship, Casey? How are you going to feel?
Please,
how is Shabley going to feel?
Damn you, Don Davis. Why are you doing this to Shabley? Give him
Release him. Release this man. Yeah, I'll go with Ilia and Charles. I don't know what's going to happen. I think I know, but I'm not 100% sure. So, yeah, that fight's it's super interesting.
It's a great fight. And it's kind of trippy. Like, I'm looking at the graphic now and I'm thinking, I think as soon as that fight is over and we do our next update, we just take Islam out and then Islam's in limbo.
I have a question about this rankings. Yeah. Why do we have it? Actually, why is Islam ranked? Why are we allowing him in the rankings when we we took out Max Holloway, even though he hasn't,
Ilia. Well, we're giving him the same courtesy we gave Ilia. Ilia, we did not take out until the UFC 314 main event until the night of UFC 314. We had him number one even after we knew he was vacating, because technically the UFC also said, oh, he's not vacant until, like, as soon as the bell rings for Diego Lopez and Alex Volkanovski, then the featherweight title is vacant. And again, we do not mean to bank our rankings strictly on who has UFC belts. Like we've said it from the start, that's the whole point of these rankings. It shouldn't be based on that, but it's just a bit cleaner, I think, for readers. Like it. Yeah, it's just, and it looks weird to see, like, they know Ilia is the best going up to that point, and then, okay, once we see a new champion, we can kind of let go. I think there's people who would still probably just want to rank Ilia, even after Islam fights like welterweight. They probably want to keep him in lightweight. Like our original ruling was like if you fought in a division, within the last 18 months, you should be considered. But guys are being so firm now about, like, oh, I'm probably moving up and I think they're not coming back. It's really screwed up. Again, division and pound for pound are such a mess over the last probably 2 years by all this random movement. So yeah, the way we'll do it is Islam probably out, and Topuria, win or lose, I assume will be ranked somewhere 155. I think it's going to be very awkward. It's awkward to rank someone who, when their only 155 win is technically Jai Herbert, right? So
real quick, just this is a little hypothetical. So Islam's out of the rankings because he's a watch right now.
Yeah.
Charles Oliveira wins a close decision over an unranked lightweight. Is Arman the number one lightweight?
You are
sure
free.
Is, Casey.
But I mean, he won a close decision against Charles. So I don't know if you can, but you're right. It's again.
No. I'm being kind of. I mean, we're not. No, we're only. Yeah, I'm just saying. Like even if Charles beats, no matter Charles beats Ilia, if he does. Yeah, I mean, Arman to me is the top.
Arman beat him.
Arman's the best lightweight in the world, ranking wise.
Again, this is why it's important to have independent rankings, because yes, they should not be based on who the UFC chooses to award title fights to. And you're right, Arman.
That's an argument. That's a good argument.
It's a very good argument. And that's the whole point. Like, rankings should be up for debate. It should not just be, well, this guy's UFC champion, he's number one, blah, blah, blah.
No,
like,
I hate that. Yeah, I hate that.
Stupid. Yeah. Casey, did you give, sorry, so what's your choice? What's your choice for what you're looking for? Fight or event, if you can sort of remember which fights have landed where. It's a bit of a jumble in my mind, so I don't think I can do that.
I'm going to go with my favorite division, and particularly because of that number 6, Patchy Mix, who is now a UFC fighter. If he defeats Mario Batista handily, I don't know. I just think it's another I still love this division. It got a little stagnant with the rematches a bit, with the Merab O'Malley rematch. With Sandhagen's great win, I'm assuming Mix is going to defeat Batista. Peter Yan's still looking great. Man, I don't know. I just want to give some love to the 35ers because I know lightweights get lots of love. There's no shortage of love to the lightweight division. So I'm just putting some more love to the 135ers. So
we've had it's a great fight. It's a terrific fight.
It's good. The timing's perfect.
We are going to know everything. Like literally, the story of Patchy Mix is going to be written on June 7th. Mm-hmm. That's it. The UFC story of Patchy Mix will be written. It's either this guy is fighting for a belt in his next 2 fights, or he will never fight for a UFC title.
Oh,
that's how it's going to go. Yeah,
I don't know. I could see like an Anthony Pettis thing. He loses his first fight.
No.
He doesn't have that kind of cachet. He doesn't have that kind of cachet. No.
No, dude, was Patchy Mix on a Wheaties box? Give me a freaking break.
Yeah, he didn't do the Showtime kick. No, he doesn't have a Showtime kick. Yeah.
Patchy is very good. He is one of the best bantamweights in the world. I think his last performance humanized him a little bit against Magomedov, but Magomedov's a good fighter.
Very good.
And I don't think he's a little bit underrated as well. Patchy Mix has the greatest opportunity in the world right now. He is fighting the guy in this division that is ranked that the fan base cannot stand.
Yep.
And if he goes out and loses a tepid decision to Mario Batista, he's not getting a title shot anytime soon. Like, his road to a title is going to be so long if he loses this fight. But if he goes out there and obliterates Mario Batista, he might just get a title fight immediately. He might just fight the winner of Merab and Sean right away. He might leapfrog Corey Sandhagen. But he is at least in a number 1 contender fight if he wins this fight. But if he loses, it's such a bad place for him right now with how talented this division is. And like the fact that Montel Jackson is not on this top 15 is redonkulous to me. It's just ridiculous. And he's good. Like, he's super good. He's a guy that if he actually fought, could fight for a belt. Like, I believe in his talent that much. But I love when a guy comes over, and this isn't Kayla getting a setup fight with Holly Holm. There is not a person on planet Earth that thought Holly Holm had a single solitary chance to beat Kayla Harrison.
I picked her.
This is the test. Like, this is straight up litmus test for Patchy. The stakes could not be higher for him outside of a title fight. They could not be higher. And so I love everything about this.
Yeah, and it's a great matchup too for Patchy, timing wise. Just how Batista's like, to me, got a very inflated ranking right now, which is great for Mix. So this is good. That's why. Yeah, that was kind of my what event is that again? Sorry, when is Patchy? When is that?
That's 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, super soon. Yeah, I was like, So I was like, is it a month away? No, close to that. Wow.
The other reason I hope he wins is when we post the pound for pound, like, he's on our men's pound for pound. I think he's somewhere in the 14 to 18 range, something. He's been a hell of a run. When we post, every time we post that graphic on social, on Twitter and on YouTube, wherever we post these things, there's always at least a handful of comments like, "What's a Patchy Mix? Who's Patchy Mix? This guy's not in the UFC. What's a Patchy Mix?" So I would love it. No, it's like specifically him. It's like people just don't know who he is, and it's like if he puts on a good performance against Bautista, one that'll help. I would also love it if he finished Bautista and then shouted, I love you, Jose, and then called out Zahabi for a number 1 contender fight. That would be that's really going to endear him to me in my eyes. Like, that's really good. The Aldo revenge tour.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot Mix is on the same main card as O'Malley, Merab. Like, it's just lines up so perfectly for Patchy Mix. Yeah, Mike Sunderberg is correct. If he wins big and wins dominantly, and the right things are said, who knows? If he does the thing, who knows? Amazing.
obviously the fight I'm looking forward to the most, just weeks away, June 21st, UFC Baku, Hamdi Abdelwahab and Mo Usman. I mean, my God, I cannot be. Luke Thomas the other day, tweeted something about like some old graphic of the UFC rankings from like 10 years ago, the heavyweight rankings, like, wow, this was really like maybe a golden era. And I'm like, excuse me? We have literally weeks away, we have Hamdi Abdelwahab and Mo Usman coming up. So I am just so. My heart will break if for some reason this fight doesn't happen. I think it's already been pushed back. I think it was actually supposed to already, like, we would have seen it this weekend or something. But there was the event venue change and stuff like that. So that's obviously, heavyweight, hottest division in the game right now. This score needs to be settled. I think this is the number one contender fight, right? I think whoever wins, Mo and Hamdi, is going to fight for the title next. Tom Aspinall.
They're going to jump in front of Aspinall. Yeah. And just.
No, they're going to fight Jones. Jones is out. Listen, Jones is out. Tom Aspinall needs an opponent. It's going to be Mo Usman or Hamdi Abdelwahab.
Wait, but John said what he would not qualify it as retirement. I'm not sure what it is. I wouldn't call it retirement. God. John,
he's waiting.
Just keep doing this, by the way. I'm so annoyed by it, but he needs to do this every single day because the UFC is not going to do anything about it. So just keep doing it. I'm just going to embrace everything he tweets now.
He's waiting
until the UFC does something.
Yeah. He's waiting for the winner of Mo and Hamdi. Yeah, he is. That's right.
Smart.
He's like, why? That's my number one contender fight right there. What am I?
He's on that squat rack every day, just thinking like, all right.
Oh
Hamdi.
my gosh.
All right, Mo. Next.
Hamdi. I get you. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us for this ranking show. Thank you, Casey, for the amazing graphics. Mike, fantastic job as a co-host, as a commentator, as an analyst, as always. And remember everyone out there in rankings land, no matter where you. What's my line usually? Whoa! How's it? Oh, the special effects. No matter what you think of the MMA fighting global and pound for pound rankings, you guys out there are always number one in our hearts. Take care.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm doing this. Woo!